The date was March 11th, year 2020. On-duty officer Robert Neff cost the city $55,000 for tying up, kissing, and groping a gas station employee while she was working. He pled guilty to sexual misconduct, and he avoided prison time. Many times we hear that we should just comply with an officer's orders.
When something happens and an officer asks you for ID, you can't be like, you don't got no reason. You don't have PC, you don't have, why are you stopping me? You don't know, man. That's why you guys got to do what you're told until you, no, listen to me. I'm telling you, this is how it works. This is 100% how it works.
That propagated statement is something everyone needs to rethink.
I love the guests. I love the feeling you get to know the community around you.
Emery Taylor worked at this gas station for 8 years, but it took a police officer, not a robber, to do something to her that haunts her while working there.
The things he did doesn't make sense to me. He definitely abused his badge. I try to black that out a little bit. He wanted to give me a hug, so he side hugged and then he kissed me on my cheek, which at that point I told people, you know, I'm uncomfortable around him, like this is not something I'm wanting to pursue.
Did you have any kind of relationship with Robert Neff?
No. He tried to give me his number several times, but honestly I trashed him.
As the public continues to make requests, reforms, and demand justice from police misconduct, we find many of these departments are making little to no improvements. In fact, studies show an increase of police misconduct at the rate of 25% over the last 20 years. Although roughly 90% of service calls do not involve violence or a person with a deadly weapon, we still find ourselves with a steady increase of police-inflicted violence. Every 20 hours, a person is killed by police. Today we find reviewing the misconduct of Louisville Police Department only 2 days before Breonna Taylor was killed by officers. Emery Taylor was working at the Thornton gas station on a usual shift when she was groped, kissed, and bound by on-duty officer Robert Neff. You can see the footage that the officer is in uniform and does in fact restrain Emery. The full footage shows Officer Neff at the Thornton gas station for about 2.5 hours. Although Officer Robert Neff was criminally charged and confessed, he landed a plea deal for the 3 charges, resulting in probation, but no official time behind bars. Neff then resigned from the Louisville Metro Police Department, and Metro government paid Taylor a $55,000 settlement. Emery and the Taylor family were only portions of the $40 million the Louisville Metro Police Department spent on police misconduct settlements in the last 5 years.
I lost everything in this situation, not just only the person I loved more than anybody in this world.
$1.8 million was given to the 3 women after LMPD Detective Brian Bailey was charged with sexual abuse. In fact, the growing number of police misconduct settlements resulted in the loss of Louisville Excess insurance provider Safety Specialty. With a large number of high-dollar payouts for police misconduct, outside insurance agencies are opting out, leaving majority of the settlements for policing problems in the hands of taxpayers.
He just kind of kept following me around.
It's here in the back storage area in 2 separate incidents that Neff gropes Taylor. He claimed to be faking a search.
Was grabbing my down between my shirt, was trying to rub up against my leg area, and the whole time the woman that I was training was in front of me watching it, and she's like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. And I'm just sitting there because he made me put my hands behind my back and restrained me to where I couldn't move.
What is going through your mind in those moments?
Why me? Why did he see me as the vulnerable person to come into my safe place of work and try to take advantage of me in any way he could? I just really didn't understand the whole situation because it wasn't something I had tried to partake in before. I didn't take your number. I didn't try to do anything but be cordial with people and nice.
Taylor says she felt angry, scared, and helpless.
Is this going to affect my job and how I provide for me and my family? I don't think that he should have had a right to resign. I think he should have been fired. If the cops were just doing what they should do, that money could be used towards so much different things in our city and for our children and different things. That's a lot of money to send out for people doing inappropriate things.
Louisville lost its excess insurance provider, the kind that covered the most high-dollar payouts.
Because of the large numbers of payouts that we have, outside insurance carriers look at the city of Louisville and say, no, I don't think so.
It means these settlements for policing problems now fall more on taxpayers. Taylor believes more stringent mental health testing could be a solution.
Because if they're mentally unstable, they're going to act out and do mentally unstable things to people who don't deserve it at all.
Do you feel like you got justice?
I feel like I got the justice that I was able to handle mentally. I didn't feel like mentally I could take this to trial and try to fight it anymore.
This is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern that we're seeing. The problem is no accountability, an umbrella of protection. The mentality that everyone should just comply and do as they are told is not making any sense anymore. From school, we're taught obedience. Stand in line, raise your hand, and do as you're told. But nobody ever told you to hold police officers accountable, as if they can do no wrongdoing. The patterns don't lie. In fact, the numbers show exactly what bad policing is doing to run this country into the ground. I think we've come to the point where we need to stop blaming the police officer himself and seeing the action as an isolated incident. We need to go up the ladder and get rid of the higher-ups that allow this to continue. Who is training these police officers? And what are they training them in? And what are they lacking in training? Since I started my channel, I have personally discovered that police officers don't know the simplicity of the First Amendment of the Constitution. Let me break this down for you. The First Amendment mirrors your natural-born rights. You have a freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition for a redress of grievances. Many cops that I've encountered have all been asked by me if they know it. Sadly, they don't. Here's a clip of an officer admitting to me the embarrassment of this discovery. I'm going to ask you guys a question. You guys don't have to answer, but out of all law enforcement that I encounter, I ask them this one question. You guys can answer this because it is part of your job. So, do you guys happen to know the First Amendment of the Constitution?
Like verbatim?
You don't have to say it verbatim, but there are 5 elements. And if you can state those 5 elements, I'll give you fist bumps, all that. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, I've been doing this a while, and I've only had one officer that could tell me more than 2. Yeah. Can you do more than 2?
What are the elements of the First Amendment? I got to tell you guys, it's embarrassing, and I'll tell you why. You guys swear an oath.
Embarrassing. You're right.
You guys took an oath to get that job, right?
Yeah.
But you guys didn't remember it. Somebody is reading it to you. That's a problem in America. We're in the high 90s of percentage of police officers that don't know it. Will you guys go home and learn it tonight and never forget it again?
I'll probably do it before I go home.
Awesome, bro. I will be making a compilation video soon of every police officer that I've asked, and you'll be able to see that the problem is bigger than anyone could have possibly imagined. And the umbrella of protection that I see, folks, is internal investigations, qualified immunity, police unions, and the insurance that we have to pay for. As you see, insurance companies no longer want to protect bad police departments. That leaves the taxpayers to fork the bill every time a cop, if by miracle, somehow gets sued and held accountable. And one thing you guys got to keep in mind is that cameras are far more important today than they ever have been before. Who knows if this lady would have won the settlement or if the police officer would have been held accountable if there was no cameras inside that store. How stupid was that officer to do it on camera? And this, folks, is why it's important to record and document every encounter that you personally have with law enforcement, or even if you see law enforcement on the side of the road, pull your phones out and record. That doesn't make you a bad person. In fact, it makes you a good person. Not only will you be protecting the person from bad policing, but you're possibly protecting the police officer from any allegations made that are wrong. That's transparency, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the compilation video. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.